mammals and reptiles have been scrapping for as long as they both existed. Good delivery by me. So of course when humans decide to go all hyper intelligent and civil, the Yotai followed closely behind. Wink. But of course they're not just a copy, you know, like reptiles have different needs they have to accommodate to. And like in general, you know, things like culture and lifestyle that make them like very unique. So what are the differences between humans and Yotai? And why do they have such a weird rocky history together? I don't know, just kidding, I do. Peep this. So basically, lots of millions of years ago, I don't know how long these primate guys existed. Hold on. Monkey. And while they had big plans for the future, in the present, they had a problem. They were prey. Draco facultatus was an ancient reptile species that branched off in order to specifically hunt these primates. They developed semi-bipedalism in order to chase the chimps up the trees. They had like a pseudo thumb they evolved to like grab things easier, you know, maybe like they stole food, I don't know. Basically, the more they adapted to hunting these ancient monkeys, the more they started to look like them. Fast forward millions of years, woo! The monkeys are going strong now, and they're, I'm not kidding about this by the way, their scientific name was Homo erectus. At the same time, those devious little reptiles are now called Draco habilis, and they're like a little behind in the evolutionary race. While our boy, our guy, Homo erectus, was like chilling making fire, you know? Draco over here, habilis little guy, he was still figuring out the Stone Age, you know, making little stone tools to like, ooh, me smash me smash coconut, you know? And at the same time, they actually like kind of started moving away from hunting erectus. Well, some of them did. Some of them like evolved to become omnivores. Actually, they like generally all of them stopped hunting the monkey. Even longer after that, wahoo! While humans were just now transitioning into Homo sapiens, the reptile gang, the Shadow Wizard Mighty Reptile Gang, were beginning to become Draco erectus. Not only moving on from hunting humans, but now at this point hunting entirely. They're just herbivores now. And around roughly, I don't know, like the 1400 to 1600, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. Draco sapiens, or the modern day Yotai, came into the world, and they lived exclusively in caves to avoid conflict. Then they eventually realized, hey, maybe we should have equal rights? That kind of sucks, because this is humans we're talking about. Of course, it led to like a massive war, and this was like huge, right? They wanted to settle this rivalry once and for all. Millions of years, nothing on the board, millions of years of evolution on the line. So if the Yotai win, they get equal rights. But if the humans win, they wanted to kill all of the Yotai. So, thank God they picked a fight against dragon people.
Like it could, G.
They lost after one of the longest and the most brutal and horrific war in modern history. The Yotai earned their rights and began to integrate into society. But of course, it's not that squeaky clean. Even after a victory, the Yotai had to face, like, you know, the general xenophobia of humanity. I mean, humans can't even treat other humans right. How do you think they're gonna react to dragon people? And this led to like the entire species as a whole having a chip on their shoulder. That was so dumb. I'm never doing that again. That was so dumb. But this dumb stuff wasn't about to stop them, baby. They are ready to show everyone what they fought for. While humans based their society around capitalism, Yotai's based it around strength and combat. I should have done this for strength and that for combat. I want to immediately preface this off the bat. Yotai are not meant to be like a stand-in or an allegory for any other kind of real-world culture or ethnicity. They live all around the world, so they work the same way humans do. So, for example, there are American Yotai in the same way there are American humans. And that same thing goes for, like, all other ethnicities or races, you know what I mean? Latino, Korean, British, Japanese, Australian, you know, etc. Fighting is what this society is based around. The strength born from competition and rivalry fuels their culture, baby! Human sporting events and stuff like that are like appetizers compared to like Yotai events and stuff, because they go crazy with it. Not only with like presentation, but also they're a lot more dangerous as well. While humans typically compete in like team settings, you know, with like basketball, soccer, stuff like that. Yotai usually compete one-on-one. It can be anything from like boxing to taekwondo to sumo wrestling to like goofier things like fighting games and professional competitive tag, which I don't know if you knew if professional competitive tag is a thing, but it's real and it's like the most hyped thing I've ever watched in my life. Essentially, they're scrappers. Being reptiles, they're not like us. Their parents don't look after them when they're born. Instead, they're hatched in schools. Why am I on this side? They're hatched in schools, and from there, they're like taught everything they know. How to talk, walk, behave, and most importantly, how to fight! When the young dragons are about like 16 years of age, they are forced to leave the school and forced to get a job that's been chosen for them. The jobs they get have 3 work days a week, so that way they have a lot of time for like training and competing, you know what I mean? And I don't know where else to mention it, but like every 5 to 10-ish years, the birth parents will come to like visit their child to see how they're doing and how successful they are. Doesn't that sound stressful? It is! Instead of houses, they have capsule hotels. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're really cool. Look them up. The rooms are so tiny. They're like so little and small. They only have like the bare essentials for shelter. And that sounds really cruel, but it's not. And the reason why is because the yotai highly value the earth. While humans like build on top of nature, yotai build around it. While humans spend most of their time indoors, yotai spend a lot of the time outdoors. They basically only go in their rooms to sleep. And like every other time of the day, they're outside. Every town, village, city, whatever, has like their own designated training area. It's like this big place and they use it for fighting and like they hold their competitions there. And it's basically the only time they ever go inside. They don't even have like restaurants. They just like get their food from like little booths. They have like little like food stands and they just get their food and there are benches everywhere. And that's where they eat. They don't have restaurants. They don't have buildings. Speaking of food, I mentioned earlier that they're herbivores, and this is still the case. But it's not like, ooh, can I get a small salad? No, it's more like, duh, it's halftime. I just got the snot beat out of me. Here, let me grab a watermelon and bite the entire thing in half. They eat like hippos. Not in what they eat, but how they eat it. They mainly eat fruits is what they eat. And the topic of their diet leads me to their body and how it works. Here we have the average human compared to the average yotai. The first thing that sticks out when you compare the two, that's a lizard. But also they're so tall. The average human height is around like 5'7", while the average yotai height is like 8'3". So a yotai short king is about as tall as LeBron James. Another difference though are their limbs. While human hands and feet like get big towards the top of the arm and then get smaller as it goes down to the hand, yotai are the opposite. They start out smaller towards the arm and get bigger as it gets to the hand. Same thing with the feet. I said the feet. This is so like they have extra like weight flying around when they attack. You know, if you have the like more girth, if you have like more girth at the end, it's gonna hit a lot harder when you're like punching, swinging, kicking, you know what I mean? Like if I was swinging this thing, which end do you think would hurt more to get hit by? Like getting hit by this end part or getting hit by this little part? Horrible analogy. I think you get it. It wasn't a bad analogy, it was just that was a bad object to use for the analogy. They have very long necks compared to humans, and if you measure them without the neck, like 2/3 of their body is all legs. That fact means nothing, it has no relevance, I just think it's very funny. Their tails can fall off, and if that happens, you are deemed a coward and a wuss by yotai society. Like, they don't grow back after they get chopped, the tails get chopped off, and you're seen as weak forever in a society dominated by fighting and combat and strength. That's pretty bad. Isn't that embarrassing? A yotai can like visually be based off of any reptile from the squamates family, which basically means just lizards and snakes, to grossly simplify it. I'm debating on like whether or not to include the Archosauria family, which is like crocodiles and turtles and birds even. Like, maybe? I don't know. Maybe. The game's not out. I haven't even started making the game yet, obviously, but who knows, maybe. But for now, lizards and snakes, exclusively. Speaking of reptiles, these guys are cold-blooded as hell! Air conditioning for humans is a matter of convenience. For yotai, it's a matter of life or death. Since they can't regulate their own body temperature like we can, they have to take extra measures to ensure they don't get cold and they stay warm. Because I don't know if you knew this, when a cold-blooded animal, in this case a reptile, if it gets too cold, all of its body functions slow down and it dies if it's in the cold for too long. So obviously they want to avoid that. I'm gonna turn on the light in my gecko's cage. After I said that. just I don't want to jinx it. For one, they usually start the day with basking, like most reptiles do. I just think it's a cute visual. They do it for like an hour or two at a time. I just think it's a cute visual. They have those like, there's a picture right here of like, they have those like, reflective foldy thingies and they just like sit on a lawn chair and they bask. I just think that's a really cute visual of like these big, tall, scary dragon people to do. The pockets for all of their pants comes with built-in hand warmers, and like in general, all their clothing is very insulated. And they also have these things called heat booths. They're like little mini saunas that you can walk into and to like, you know, warm up, and they need these because, you know, they spend so much time outside. They need something outside in case it's cold to go into and warm up like really quick, you know what I mean? These have been distributed pretty much everywhere on Earth because they're all over, yotai are all over the Earth. They're about as common as bathrooms. There are some bathrooms that double as a heat booth, and they're really uncomfortable, and everyone hates them, yotai included. And lastly, in terms of heating up, they eat very like spicy and hot food, you know what I mean? They love peppers, they love like boiling, I think, whatever. They like heating up their fruits and veggies before eating them. They have really hot meals, like they come out smoking and they eat it while they're smoking. Super spicy, that's like one of their main ways of heating up the inside of their bodies. But at the end of the day, there are still gonna be drawbacks to being cold-blooded. For one, they do not live in the cold at all. Like, obviously, but like, you know, they cannot live in like Canada or something. And heat booths can actually shut down during power outages, which is obviously devastating if it's really cold outside, or if it's shut down because of a blizzard or something. Luckily, all heat booths have like a way to start a fire inside of them in case of an emergency like that. All this crazy effort and all the power it takes to power the heat booths, like all of the energy and stuff, it is all to ensure that the yotai have like just a nice, comfortable time living in the modern world. Yotai didn't ask to be a part of this world. They demanded it! And they took that stubborn pride with them as they earned their place as the second sapient species on Earth. But they're not the last, of course! Look at all these guys! There are so many different kinds of people that are gonna be in this game. There are plant people, for example. I don't know what to call them yet. But they're there! All the different kinds of Elekin. This is a lava Elekin. They're gonna be like water, ice, electrical, you know what I mean? Addie's a ghost! How do ghosts work? Tingle is a shark with legs. Are you telling me one of these species are just fish with legs? Yes. And that's not even talking about the game itself. I can make videos about like the mechanics and the story and like the gameplay loop of the game, how it controls, stuff like that. I should make like videos diving deeper into Tingle, Addie, and Ray, you know, because they're the main characters. I should explain them a bit more. Bottom line, I have so much to talk about. If you're interested in Codename Leg Shark at all, stay tuned because you are going to be eaten! This is just the first of many videos I want to make explaining things about the game. Yeah, thanks for watching and have a good day! They're so tall. They're so tall. Essentially, the average human eye level is at the average yotai hip level. Do with that information what you will.